So I'm looking at the chat, and they're talking about Brad, and they're mentioning, does Brad come back as a zombie? Well, in Resident Evil 2, you can find zombie Brad walking around at the police station. Maybe at some point, we'll see what leads to that. Alright, well, we've opened this lock. And we're now back out closer to the beginning of the game. They're asking if Resident Evil 3 is a prologue to Resident Evil 2. Well, it's not a prologue, it's more like the events are taking place at roughly the same time. This part of Jill's story is happening the day before the events of Resident Evil 2. That's weird. Normally, that gets broken down. It's been bound tight with a rope and won't open. The rope seems to be soaked with oil. Well, now it's open. And there are plenty of zombies. So at the moment we have plenty of firepower to deal with them. But if we did not have enough firepower, we could use that barrel to blow them all away. But everybody wants to hang out in the corner. Nobody wants to come out and socialize. Come on. That might be a little too close. I think I mentioned earlier that it is possible to hurt yourself with being too close to explosives like that. And there are red herbs. So here's another thing to mention. Unlike most of the other Resident Evil games, some of the items and enemy placements are random. So we may find healing items in locations that I didn't find them in last time. Or we may fight different enemies in different locations than I did last time. Photo A. The policemen are pressing forward. It's dated September 27th. So this is the day before what's happening right now. Well, we read that this rope was soaked in oil, so we're going to use our lighter to burn it away. Ooh, did you hear that? That sounded like a dog barking. And there's a reason you heard dog barking, because there are Cerberus around here. And that was me lucking out and dodging. I was actually trying to shoot the dog, but since I timed it just so, I performed a dodge instead. Okay, what do we got here? There's a fire hydrant. If I had a fire hose, I might be able to extinguish the fire. And there are some more goodies. We got gunpowder A and gunpowder B. We're going to drop off gunpowder A. We're going to use gunpowder B right now. And that gets us shotgun shells. But since our weapons are already unlimited ammunition, we don't really need to make shotgun shells. Now I'm going to drop off most of these items because we don't need them right now. What I am going to do, actually, is I'm going to take our handgun, and I'm going to take our ink ribbons, because now is a very good time to save. I kind of sound like Crichton from Red Dwarf. Somebody in the chat is mentioning that. Well, I happen to like Red Dwarf quite a lot, so thank you very much. Okay, now, actually, let's take a look at the save file one more time. I hope I can back out without using it. If you look there, we have the number 1-8. That first number is how many times we've saved so far. That last 8 is how many times we've beaten the game. I've already gone through the game 8 times. That is to unlock all the epilogue files. We'll take a look at those another time. And I'm actually going to switch back to our handgun. It's locked with a simple lock. Well, we can't get through this way. But if you remember, Jill is the master of unlocking. She just needs her tools. And we are now right outside the Raccoon Police Department. We're actually at the back exit. This is the exit that in Resident Evil 2, if you were playing the B scenario, you would come through. So someone is asking in the chat if we are playing easy or hard mode. We are playing hard mode because in hard mode, that's how you unlock a lot of the extra goodies. Alright, it's cutscene time. There's Brad, and he does not look good. There's our buddy Nemesis. We don't know his name is Nemesis yet, but... Ew. This is the big bad monster that's going to stalk us through most of the game. Alright, I'm just going to pause the video here for a second, because we've come up to our first live selection. When we come to a live selection like this, you see that we have two options. In this case, it's fight the monster or enter the police station. You may not realize this, but you also have a third option. That's where you do nothing at all. Each time we come to one of these live selections, I'm going to show you all three options. I'll show you what happens if you choose nothing first. And then I'll show you the other two options, and the last one will be the one that I usually prefer to pick. So in this case, we're going to find out what happens if you do nothing. Well, if you do nothing, Nemesis comes and decks you in the face, and now you have to fight him. And Nemesis hits pretty hard. I think we're already in caution. So that's what could happen, but let's look at some of the other choices that could happen. Okay, now let's look what happens if we choose to enter the police station. Jill dodges his attack and runs through the doors. And he's not happy. He is going to try to smash his way in through these doors. I don't think he ever actually does smash his way through these doors. And since we're checking it out, let's see what happens if we try to use the doors. It's too dangerous to open the door. Yeah, no kidding, Jill. Now we're going to pick my preferred choice. That's fight with the monster. In this case, the fight just begins automatically. Now, I have an easier time dodging Nemesis than I do have some of the other enemies, but it's still not that easy. Although fighting him in this area is probably a good idea, since there's a lot of space. Although if you get too far from him, he'll start charging you, and when he does that, he's more likely to hit you. Now, we don't actually have to stay in here. We can leave. We could have even turned around and went into the police station. But I'm taking him out here. Or rather, we're going out this way. And if you listen, he just opened the gate, and he's coming after us. He'll stalk us through several screens. But I want to take him out here, because his big lumbering body can get stuck on the wall here, making him easy just to attack. Although he will eventually get out. Now, is this cheesy? Is this taking advantage of the game? Yes. The answer is just yes. Ow. Now, even though I dodged, he still managed to hit us because, unfortunately, we can't get stuck on the stage. So, turnabout is fair play. He gets stuck on the stage, we get stuck on the stage. But we beat him, and he dropped something. Now, it looks to me like kind of a silver briefcase, but I swear I can remember playing this on the PlayStation, and he dropped a little PlayStation on the original PlayStation version. I don't think that's accurate, but that's what I remember. And he dropped the Eagle Parts A. One of the reasons, probably the biggest reason to fight Nemesis over the course of the game, as opposed to running away from him, is that he'll drop goodies for you that you can only get from him. And that's one of them. I think he has something like 7 or 8 different items that he'll drop over the course of the game, and that's the first one. There's another benefit to doing this, and that is we can go and search Brad's body. Brad has a card case. And if we check the card case, there's some kind of card inside. And it's Brad's S.T.A.R.S card. An ID card for S.T.A.R.S with Brad's picture on it. Okay, we're back in the police station, and I see a bunch of green herbs here. We're going to take them both. Actually, we're going to take all 3 of them and use one of them right now. Now our inventory is full, which is a problem. And here is the police station map. Will you use the S.T.A.R card? We need the S.T.A.R card to use on this computer. If we didn't take it off of Brad back in the other screen, we'd have to search the police station for Jill's S.T.A.R card. Notice the S.T.A.R personnel. Due to the emergency, the key to the S.T.A.R.'s office has been moved to the evidence room. Today's password for the safe is 0131. Now, I also see some ammunition over here, but we don't need that. Oh, you didn't want to blow your head off, huh? Someone made quite a mess here. So in here is where Leon, or Claire, depending on who you played, would have found the memo for Leon, and we would have met Marvin. Now I want to remind you that this is supposed to be taking place the day before the events of Resident Evil 2. And look who's laying there dead on the floor. It's RPD Officer Marvin Brang. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that, but that's what I'm going to say. He's been fatally wounded by zombies. He appears to be holding something in his hand. Marvin's report. September 24th. There were reports of a theft in the municipal building before dawn. A jewel-decorated clock at the main gate was damaged. 2 of the 12 gems that are installed on the face of the clock are missing. Due to the lack of available officers at this time, I have no choice but to suspend the research of this case. Signed, Marvin Brang. September 26th. Based on the autopsy report of a 42-year-old restaurant owner, I have discovered that he has one of the missing gems. He apparently took shelter in the police department at about 10 a.m., where he was shot to death within 10 minutes of having developed the symptoms. Since the city is currently under martial law, we are forced to suspend this case. At this time, we'll keep the gem as evidence. Signed, Marvin Brang. So poor Marvin is laying here dead on the ground the day before Leon and Claire would have met him. I personally don't think there's much to read into this. I think it's just, they wanted to use his model here as sort of just a little Easter egg. Although I guess if you want to read more into it, it could be that, he was fatally wounded, but he's going to wake up as a zombie. And that's going to happen by tomorrow, but before he zombifies, he's going to have some semblance of himself. Well, I see a flashing red light. And there's the gem they were talking about. We can't carry it. We'll have to come back for it. It's locked with a simple lock. So we found 2 places with simple locks. It's locked with a number-based lock. Now we've already got a 4-digit code, so we're going to put it in here. 0, 1, 3, 1. There is the key to the S.T.A.R.S office. Once again, we can't carry it. We're going to fix that right now. Hello, Miss Zombie. Now, this hasn't happened yet, but it's actually possible to blow the zombie's torso off of their legs. And if that happens, then their torso is just going to crawl around after you. What's that? Somebody subbed to me? Well, thank you so very much. I appreciate all the subs, the likes, the comments, and the whole 9 yards. So let's drop our healing items off up here. I do like to try to keep a little bit of organization, but I do go overboard a bit. Okay. We'll put you down here. And I'm not going to need the handgun anymore. So let's switch these around. Alright, have I been doing good so far? Yes. Dave's memo. My sanity is at its end. I still can't believe this is happening. We lost another man yesterday. Meyer, one of our better marksmen. He saw me panic once we were overrun by the zombies, but he came back to save me. But when the time came to return the debt, I ran. I can still hear him calling my name. I can still hear the screams from behind. The sounds of his flesh being stripped from its bones. I was afraid, terrified. It's the 27th. So that means this was yesterday. The fight to stay alive continues. I took out several zombies who managed to break through the barricades. Now I'm cutting through the chill with whiskey, unloading my Moseberg on anything undead. That shotgun's become a close friend of mine. I blasted many a zombie in the fertilizer with it. I lost 13 men as of yesterday. In 3 hours, we'll be bickering over trivial things in the meeting room. A total waste of time. When I finish this bottle, my old friend Moseberg will be turning one last body into fertilizer. Peace at last. I can hardly wait. Poor Dave. Oh, wait. There is an ink ribbon here. So we now have 5 ink ribbons altogether, which should be more than enough to do all the saving I plan in this game. And here is the dark room, where we did our most important work in Resident Evil 2, which was developing photos. And this locker here, also in Resident Evil 2, was where we got our extra costumes. Jill, on the other hand, finds some gunpowder A. Any goodies in here? Nope. Let's put the gunpowder away. I would say that this is another good place to save, but it wasn't that long ago that we saved, so we're just going to keep going. We go back this way. We can grab this gem, and we need this gem. In fact, in pretty much every adventure game you play, if you find an item, you need it. And there's the emblem key. That's not true of all adventure games. Some adventure games screw with you. I hear some zombies. There's a bunch of them down there. This is another area where we could possibly get different encounters. I've had fights with Cerberus in here, and I've had zombies crawling through the windows. But looky looky. Alright, we got 2 more red herbs, so we have lots of healing power. Alright, more ink ribbons, but I do not want to spend the space on that. And here is Jill's star card. If we did not have Brad's star card, we could come here and get Jill's. And there are some shotgun shells. There's nothing you can do with the fireplace. In Resident Evil 2, there was something we could do with the fireplace, but not the case in this game. Well, our inventory is full again, so I'm going to drop off some of these goodies, and we are going to do some herb mixing. Okay, you can go up here with the lighter, and you can go down here with the first aid spray. Okay, we're still pretty early in the game, and we don't quite yet have a lot of firepower, so I'm going to hang on to 2 mixed herbs until we get to a point where we can really blast our way through enemies. So that great big corpulent zombie is sometimes here and sometimes not. Uh-oh. Ah, you thought you were going to sneak up on me. A statue of a god holding up his soul. This is also one of the puzzles from Resident Evil 2. Alright, let's use the emblem key and discard it. But before we go in the S.T.A.R.S office, a solid barricade has been set up here. Well, while the door is barricaded, there's a little vent down here. A small ventilation shaft. It's far too small for an adult. Well, it may be too small for an adult, but maybe a little kid could get through it.